Hey, welcome to The Process. My name is Dr. John Bush. This is for the scienceoffantasyfootball.com, my site that I co-run with my partner in crime, D. Mike. Check his stuff out. I'm continuing in my second year of beta testing this new way of looking at a weekly consistency tool I call Counts Over Median. This is part 4, tight ends and imagining 2023 viewpoints. Again, I will be circling back to a deeper look at current ADPs with this tool here. Again, we're wanting to see the effects of this tool as a predictive measure of the future, right? I mean, that's what everybody should be trying to do. I'm not sure people do. You'll see all these metrics and proclaimments. I don't know if that's a word, but proclamations, I guess. And you don't know, is it real? Has this shown to even work? What are you doing here? Okay. So anyway, please go and start part 1, go through it, figure it out. Okay. So we're moving on with tight ends. This is the philosophy statement. This should apply to pretty much anything I'm doing here. I'm trying to inspire lifelong scholarship in an inquiry-driven fantasy football research. I'm trying to get you to do some of your own research and let you figure things out. If you find new stuff, feel free to share it with me, right? I'd like to know. I need to take on some graduate assistants. I've got lots of projects in my head, so if anybody listening, y'all like that, contact me. I know people won't, but there you go. If you really want to move to the next level, I think having a interaction where you're getting mentored in inquiry-driven research for fantasy football is the way to go, and peer review and guidance along the way. I don't know how else people do that. Who knows? And a lot of these sites, everybody's buddy, and you got to be critical at some point. That's why when science works best, it's peer review, anonymous peer review. I mean, that's how it all works. Is it reproducible? Does it have an impact? What's going on? You've got to reach that step. We don't have that yet in fantasy football research. I get the feeling that that's coming, but probably won't be me. I have not made enough impact. I've been doing this for almost 10 years, maybe is more. 2012, maybe? I don't know, when is that? Is that 12 years? Okay. I have, interacted with some people, but it hasn't been an avalanche by any means at all. So I don't know most people. I just don't think are want to do it that way, right? They want the fire. They don't want to go chop the wood. So I understand. That's human nature. I give an example of what my perception of my so-called comms metric is all about, that weekly measurement of a consistency, players' consistency. And you're looking for players that are consistent, and you have a shot at winning that position that week, right? Okay, so I usually like to look at the grand landscapes, and my data period is 2014 to 22. What you see is the box and whisker. If you don't know what that is, I would pause, go look at it and figure it out. Go Google it. But this is a measurement of the year, in this case, yearly populations. This is every tight end who had at least one snap got some type of points. That's it. So it's not looking at the top 12, top 24. This is everybody. I just want to see what everybody's doing, right? The whole shooting match, right? It's like measuring the whole league, right? Before you even get to the team position, player level, I want to know what's going on at the whole league. So that's this landscape concept here. So tight end wise, things that I see in this data, this is 2022 here, I see the extreme level of consistency for most of the population was 60%. So if you have 16 games, was that 10 games? That was the best of the population. Mainly, there were 3 exceptions. Okay, here they are. Okay, I believe this is Kelsey right there, 94%. Okay, so he was super consistent. Okay, some years we've really had some outliers, and here's one year we didn't have any. Here's 2 years. Okay, nothing dramatic in the population other than the upper whisker is one of the lowest that has been in 8 years. So there's something to be said for probably the top 12 wasn't where we needed it to be last year. And that's going to drive even more elite tight end drafting consideration. Okay. So what does the top 10 look like, since tight ends are kind of rare here? Here's the top 10 population here, and right away, what do I see? I see, look at the variation. So clearly, last year, total population, and now the top 10 even, there was a big variation in the consistency. So it was a very inconsistent year. Notice the year before, 2021, even 2020. Okay, we haven't had a wide variation of consistency until 2018. So 22, in some ways, is the highest variation we've seen in 8 years. So again, that pressure to draft elite tight ends did not decrease. People are going to be hyper about what happened last year. So if you ever wonder what drives, the preceding year, people look at the stats and quickly make a snap judgment and go with it and don't ever change their mind. Okay? Even if it's right or wrong. And I'm telling you, last year was a lot of issues with tight ends. In other words, if you were in the top 10 and you were towards that bottom, you really were sucking compared to some of the elite tight ends. So yeah, your consistency, about 50%, 8, 9 games versus theoretically 14, 15 games. So that's 6 games where, say, Kelsey gave you nice returns versus your top 10 guy, you were getting 6 games less. You were, and I think, what is it? Is it 8 or 10 points? Something like, it's not a lot of points, folks. So you were really getting screwed over, and that's even going to drive more. But if you wanted that discussion. So what will 2023 look like? Is 2022 the pattern, or is 2021 the pattern? Or, 19? Is that the pattern? So there is variation. And if people predict things, I don't know how they're doing it, because in my opinion, they would guess. I would propose that we won't see this is kind of an anti-giraffe, I call this is so extreme at the bottom here, the top 10. One would think we would be above 60%, so we would be not, 9, closer to 8 games, we would be closer to kind of the bottom of the top 10 would be closer to 10, 11 games. At least I would hope. So you're not as bad off as you were last year. You'd only be down 4 games from instead of 6. Okay. And, 6, 8 points over the season can determine whether you get into the playoffs or not. So very, very intriguing that way, that I can see here. What else? Okay. The 11 to 20, so the next 10, complete failure in 2022. So it was getting bad, even in the late top 10, and it just sunk in the top 11 to 20th. So it really sucks. So again, if you were in this range and waited too late, boy, we're talking potentially 40%. What is that? That's 6 games versus 15, 9 games. So almost every week you were just so far below median in the league. You were probably dragging up the last bit of the tight ends in your league. You were getting kicked every week by the tight end position, and you probably struggling to make the playoffs. If you're that far down on your elite tight end, and this is, again, PPR, but you got your butt kicked here. Sure did. So, it's not the only year where we've had issues. Some previous issues here. Yep, we have had that. What's that? 19, 18, 17. We had a great year. Was it 14, 15, 16 was a great year. 2021 was a good year. So in 2021, even the later tight ends were bringing closer to 9, 10 games versus 6 games. So you were doing much better in these 2 years than you were last year. So again, that extreme pressure, I think people are going to note that, and they're not going to imagine this could be this. And, previously one of the old draft patterns was, well, if you didn't get a tight end early, then you could, wait and get one late. Yeah, that can work some years, right? This year, that year can work. Didn't work this year or these years. So 4 out of, 3, 6, 8, 9. So I guess it's 9 years I'm looking. So 4 out of 9, that pattern's not going to do you any good. And probably 3 out of 9. Okay, so you got a third chance that might get you something, closer. But that's assuming you can pick the other wide. See, all these draft patterns assume you're good at picking the other. So if you go 0 RB, then you better be damn good at quarterback, tight end, and wide receiver, right? If you suck at drawing those, then 0 RB is not helping you. So there's this idea that somehow automatically if I do this, then I've gained here. That's not the case. So you need to walk that thought back. And keep your diary. Are you good at wide receivers? That would be just do that this year. Just see, are you really good at that or not? You need to know that data. Okay. Let's see. Where are we at here? Okay. We're getting towards the end. Okay. Predictive. I asked the question, if you were in the top 10% the preceding year, what did you return in the next year? In other words, a predictive data. Okay, so this chart shows tight ends that were in the top 10 last year. 50 out of about, what is this? I don't know, 88 and 9. So what is that? 1292, something like that. I'm sorry, 83, 92. So 50 out of 92, you stayed in the top 10%, top 10. If you looked at 11 to 33% last year, only 26 out of about, 140? That sucked. Look at the failure rates, 967. So we need probably, we'll have to, look at this, but that is a suggestive nature of that. And so I did the percentile pie chart here. 54% success from last year to this year, 17%. 10% failure, 43% failure. So close to 50-50 shot that you're going to fail if you hit some of those tight ends, which is not as bad as we've seen with, some of the running backs. Maybe was even a little bit more harsher, depending. So, you have a shot 50-50 at really having a great tight end this year, or 50-50 that you have a sucky one. Okay, it's good to know. So 2022, here are the great tight ends. Top 10% last year. Who are they this year? On average, one should fail. So who's the failure? I believe ADP would tell you it'd be Zach Ertz. I'm not sold on Zach Ertz being a failure like that. Okay. I don't know why they're necessarily ignoring him. He would, to me, would be a great tight end too. And I picked him up best ball, 19th, 20th round. And I'll go with it. May burn, but, if you can get him late. Kelsey, pretty much probably going to be gone early. Goddard, I like it, 83. So I'm assuming that he will deliver somewhere between 10 games and 80% of 16. What is that? 12, maybe 13. Somewhere between 10 and 13 games. This data says be good, be high on Gertz, so I'm liking it. Andrews actually dropped last year. So, guess he would be okay, but I think you have to pay too much for the same risk as Goddard. Hawkinson was at 65, 60, everybody's saying, oh, he's the one. Yeah, probably better than Andrews, but maybe not still worth his price. The Njoku is interesting, but boy, look at the year before. So he's inconsistent with his consistency. Freiermuth looks very consistent. He's going to give you 8-9 games. Kind of a floor concept, assuming he doesn't get hurt. So to me, I'm thinking I'm grabbing Goddard. If not, maybe Freiermuth. I'm not sure I want to take Njoku. I don't like that extreme variation there. Certainly, Ertz might be my second last draw out the door. I think Andrews is too expensive for what you have to pay. What, he's the second tight end? Just not sure you can't wait a little longer and pick up a Goddard or a Freiermuth. I mean, a Hawkinson would be okay. He would kind of be my fallback. Yeah, I'll take him, but I think Goddard might have some more upside. At least that's how I'm thinking. Here's the next group. Last year, top 11 to 33%. Bunch of these. 14 on average should fail. So picking out the failures, one would say, well, I'm thinking the 14 fails would be down in this range. To me, I would hate to be fishing up in here. But you can. Look, if these are 8 games, they'll give you 8 games. So is there any tight ends that have some back class? I think Waller has done well. So maybe he will bounce back, maybe give you 12 games. Kittle also has back class. Knox doesn't. Ingram improved, but wasn't as good as he's done. I don't know. He might be a surprise. Everett, I guess it's okay. Dosage, could surprise. We only have one data point here. Schultz was here or there. Higbee, here or there. Not sure what we're getting there. So there's a lot of variation, and not quite sure what we're getting here. People like Gesicki, I know he's changed, but is he going to beat his 60%? Is he going to give you better than 10 games? I don't think so. Okay, but again, you're not paying a lot for him. So remember, price has to be baked in to this. And then here is, I just did 2022, and then I let you look at 2021, just kind of seeing of that group who's had a good, past year, right? Back class a little bit. You can see some of the ones the data's for. Everybody's talking about Chiggy at 30%. Is he going to improve that much? Is he going to double to 60%? Wow, that would be quite the improvement. I don't know if you'll get 60%. You might get 8 games out of him. Be cautious. Use this data wisely. Go through. Like I said, I'm going to circle back and look deeper at your drafts and the ADP and the rounds, and we'll have a little bit more focus on some of these picks here. I'll go ahead and post these figures on Science of Fantasy if you want to spend some time looking at this data here. It's not straightforward, and you're saying, don't you wish metrics were straight? Yeah, that's the whole point of it, why the predictive future is tough, because very seldom is it just slap in your face obvious. A lot of times it's ambiguous as to what you're getting, but at least you should know that, right? You're not surprised like, wow, where did this come from, right? Wow, I'm surprised. I thought Hayden Hurst was going to give me 40%. He gave me 15. Where did that come from? Well, look. Okay. So, there are some sadness out there. So you should, if you draft Pitts and he gives you 30 and you're thinking, oh, I was thinking he would be up here at his 2020. He might be, I don't know. But look at the it's kind of like the range of outcomes here, 30 to 60, right? It's like half again what he did last year. I don't know what you're getting. Gesicki's another one. Fant's another one. Don't know what you're getting. But if you're not paying a big price and these are your tight end too, okay, maybe that's acceptable. You need to decide your risk tolerance, but here's the data to use and to figure out. Thanks for listening. We will start on the wide receivers next lesson. Woo woo, we're having fun.